In February of 2011, a website was launched with the intention of abolishing coercion and aggression amongst mankind. It was intended to be an economic simulation that would allow individuals to experience life in a world without the systemic use of force. Just 2 years later, however, Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road, would find himself arrested, facing life in prison, and $13 million he had received in commission for the sale of merchandise through his website. Merchandise that was nearly exclusively drugs banned by the federal government was seized. To find out how Ulbricht was able to pull off this online marketplace of illicit goods dubbed the Amazon of drugs, stay tuned. And don't forget to hit that bell and subscribe icon. This is the rise and fall of Ross Ulbricht and the Silk Road. Ross Ulbricht grew up in Austin, Texas. After graduating high school in 2002, he attended the University of Texas on a full scholarship until he graduated with a bachelor's degree in physics. It wasn't until he was pursuing his master's degree in material science and engineering at the University of Pennsylvania that Ulbricht would begin studying the economic theories of Ludwig Mises and Samuel Edward Konkin III. In particular, the theory of agorism, the belief in an open market untainted by theft, assault, and fraud is the closest we can get to a truly free society. After finishing his graduate degree, Ulbricht took up life as an entrepreneur, first trying his hand unsuccessfully at day trading and starting a video game company. Ulbricht was eventually asked by a friend and fellow entrepreneur, Donnie Palmtree, to come to California and help him with building an online used bookstore in 2009. A short time later, however, Palmtree was offered a job in Dallas, and Ulbricht was left as the sole operator of the venture. During this time, he began to conceptualize the construction of the Silk Road website. Taking its name from the historic trade route, Ross imagined a website being the gateway for customers to be able to buy whatever they wanted, where governments of the world would be unable to regulate the merchandise that was offered. The Silk Road could only be accessed using a browser called Tor. The Tor browser allows users to access the deep web, and in this case, the dark web. The dark web is different from the deep web in that it's filled with content that in many circles would be considered taboo. Long a haven for journalists who would use it to access information forbidden in their countries, the dark web is unregulated by government authorities. Everything from drugs to CP to hitmen can be accessed through the darknet, thus making the darknet the perfect place for Ulbricht to launch his website. Silk Road users conducted their business using bitcoins, which allowed for the anonymous transfer of funds if the user's real name wasn't attached to their Bitcoin wallet. In addition to bringing buyers and sellers together, the Silk Road offered a service known as escrow, where they would hold on to the money for the purchase until after the buyer had received their product. This made it difficult for scammers to operate within the site, and forums created a community where users could discuss how they wanted the market to operate. The forums also allowed for Ulbricht to discuss his libertarian philosophy under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, based on the character from the popular Disney film The Princess Bride. Even though the website allowed users to remain anonymous, it was quick to attract the attention of the US government, and by June of 2011, just a few months after the website was launched, Senator Chuck Schumer called on the DEA and Department of Justice to do a full investigation of the Silk Road with the goal of shutting it down. Schumer's call on the government agencies was in response to a mother contacting law enforcement after discovering her 14-year-old son sweating and pacing back and forth, repeatedly checking the mailbox. When the mail finally did arrive, the mom was quick to intercept the package, addressed to her son, containing a conspicuous DVD case. Inside was a sealed pack of crystal meth. It would be an IRS special agent named Gary Alford who would be the first to break the case open. While investigating mentions of the Silk Road, he uncovered a post made by Ross in the early days of the website. He was posting a help wanted ad and used his personal email address. Eventually, law enforcement was able to gain administrative access to the Silk Road in order to familiarize themselves with the operations. Ulbricht was eventually arrested by police at the Glen Park branch of the San Francisco Public Library, just a short time after he logged into the Silk Road. Investigators created a diversion to distract him, and then quickly took his computer away and inserted a USB with programming to quickly copy specific files. Ulbricht was denied bail as the username Dread Pirate Roberts was connected with half a dozen murder for hire plots. DPR emailed with undercover police officers who were pretending to be hitmen and requested that several site administrators and vendors who had been arrested and could potentially be talking to the police be killed, along with one who stole a large quantity of bitcoins from the site. Though Ulbricht was denied bail based on the conspiracy to murder, and the emails with undercover agents were considered during his sentencing, he was never charged, as there was a lack of evidence. Proponents of the Free Ross Ulbricht movement have pointed to this as proof of the plots never having occurred, and they were contrived by the US government investigators, and were used to heighten the charges against Ulbricht in retaliation for his creation of such a libertarian economic model. In January of 2015, Ulbricht was sentenced to 2 terms of life imprisonment, plus an additional 40 years. Ross attempted unsuccessfully later on to argue a mistrial, citing 2 federal agents who were arrested for stealing bitcoins recovered during the investigation. In spite of the plethora of evidence against him, a large movement centered around freeing Ross Ulbricht sprung up, citing his sentencing, which was far harsher than others who were involved in the Silk Road, including top drug sellers on the site. Over 600,000 signatures were gathered. Libertarian politicians, prison reform activists, crypto enthusiasts who viewed Ulbricht as an early pioneer of the Bitcoin, and of course, former users of the Silk Road website who thought of the darknet market as the good old days. In 2015, President Donald Trump, who had said during his campaign trail that if elected he would release Ross Ulbricht, made good on his promise and signed a full executive pardon on January 21st of that year. Since his release, he has made a video thanking Donald Trump and the people who supported him during his prison sentence. In all, he served 11 years for his crimes. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for taking the time to watch our video. We hope that you enjoyed it. What do you think of Ulbricht's sentence? Should he still be in prison, or has justice been served? Let us know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the links on screen now to other videos of ours that we think you may enjoy as well. Thanks again, we will see you in the next one.